Okay, and we're back. We've just finished the face of Pythagoras. We go north, and we're back in the city of Eugene, and we begin chapter 3, which is called Skinner's Butte. We are still Frank at this moment. We have a book of numbers we created in the face of Pythagoras. We can go north to the campus, and there's nothing there to do. We can go west, nothing to do. We can go back to the house. When we return to the house now, we get to be Erin. And so at the house, Erin is looking at the dog and Frank and Beetle Boots. Let's first look at the dog and see if there's any interactions with her and the dog and with Frank, and there's no interactions. Look at the Beetle Boots, and it says they were once rather stylish and clean. Interesting. Let's take the Beetle Boots. It says you examine your boots. So let's show the Beetle Boots that are kind of messed up to Frank. So we take the Beetle Boots and we present them to Frank here and see if we get a reaction. And it says it's 5 weeks of arguments and sleeplessness, buried in snowdrifts and sorry excuses, when Erin shows her Beetle Boots chewed through the toes. Okay, so obviously she's not happy living with this dog and with Frank. And rather quickly we are now in the role of Frank. So we have our very upset girlfriend and dog present. We look at the dog, who's in the corner, I guess, looking rather sheepish and guilty. No reaction. He looks at her. I'm going for a drive, says Frank. Knowing the van hasn't started in a month, it's got ice to the fender wells, and the battery's probably dead. Erin gives him a hard look that irrevocably says, it's him or me. Frank's procrastinated summer, blocked out the crisp autumn Oregon fall. Heraclitus curls at his ankles, pretending all is well, but now it's time. Herc, stay, stay. He looks at her. There's no reaction. But we can go south now from the house, and Frank says he's going for a drive. So now we get into scene 14, which says the backyard at 619 Onyx Street. And now it's much later in the season, and you can see it's snow covered, and there's snow on the roof of the house and on the trees. We have a snowbound van and snowdrifts. Let's take a look. Piled up with snow, it says. Snowdrifts. It must be a few feet of snow. But we can continue south in the backyard to scene 15, where there's a tool shed. And there's a little shed here next to a big Douglas fir tree in the snow-filled backyard. In the shed there is a shovel. We look at that, and it says good for digging just about anything. Well, I think I know where this is going. We take the shovel, we go to the backyard. Let's take the shovel to the snowbound van, and it says start digging around the van. Okay, makes sense. Let's dig out the snowdrifts first, and we do that, and it says you start digging out the van. Well, let's keep digging, I guess. Use the shovel again. There's still plenty more snow to dig out. Okay, let's keep doing it. Just about dug out. Alright. Try it again. He's shoveling vague arcs of dirty snow, making fat tracks to the street, when Erin opens the door. Let's look at her. Heraclitus tries to slip through the crack, so she kicks him in the snout. Let's look at the doll. And shock seizes Frank's anxious heart. He wants to comfort his dog. He's always comforted his dog. Let's look at her and with a little bit of anger for kicking a helpless animal. See what happens. He looks at her And it says, but Erin's pointing to the ignition. And in hideous miracle, the van starts. So, Frank's completed his mission, and the van starts, and it's, you know, nothing is going to rectify the situation except for just some distance between these two. And the van is cleared out, and let's take it and see if we can drive it. And we can get into it, and now Frank and the van are in the inventory. So it says they're rolling, sliding up icy Onyx Street, and there's a new direction to go up on Onyx Street here to the southwest. Let's click that direction. We get to scene 16, driving on icy Onyx Street. When Frank feels something break deep in his being, checking the side view mirror in the van, he sees Heraclitus running rabid after the van, and now Heraclitus is in the street. Look at the dog. His dog never chases cars. He's punishing me. His dog's gone mad. As Frank makes a panic right, a blue Chevy station wagon without hubcaps. Let's see here. It says Chevy station wagon, okay. Loses control at the frozen intersection, sweeps a wide hook of sludge, kills Heraclitus at the curb. Wow. So this tragedy is taking a turn for the worse. The dog runs out of the house to chase down Frank in the van and gets hit by a car. This is really sad. Let's look at the dog, and we get nothing here. And you see there's a character, the driver of the station wagon has got now. Let's look at the driver. The driver's holding a red stocking cap, mumbling he never saw him. Never saw him. Erin's come out of the house into the street. Let's look at Heraclitus again. And it says, a sad sight, the animal's body is still warm. Let's look at her. Nothing. Well, let's see if we can take the animal and pick up Heraclitus. We can take him. Frank lifts the warm corpse and lays it in the back of the van with a rusty shovel, the snow chains, the sagging old newspapers denied recycling. So let's, up here in our inventory, we have the van and the dog. Let's put the dog in the van. Heraclitus, put him inside the Ford van. At this point, Erin has also gotten in the van, so we're back to our crew, except Heraclitus is in the back. He's driven 2 blocks when he hears Heraclitus everywhere, nowhere, speaking. It's okay. I couldn't live without the team. We made it through so many things, but we couldn't get through this woman. It's okay. Frank's shaking. Heraclitus from the other side refutes his most intimate philosophy. And we see there's a new direction that we can go from where the accident is, northwest from Onyx Street. And when we go there, we're in scene 17, where it's the gravel lot at Skinner's Butte, still snow covered. He drives up Skinner's Butte, slow grinding the switchbacks as his merciless white goddess of the waning moon sharpens her double-bladed axe. So he pauses on the lot and drops Erin off here. Frank slides to a stop in the gravel parking lot. This is the view where he once dropped Mr. Natural, swallowed the setting sun, and became a Hindu dancing girl in better times, happy with every upspinning blush of the horizon. But the frame of reference isn't the story. The map isn't the territory. Reality is shock and more shock. Alright, so opening the van, they find a blanket. Look at the blanket. It's large enough for a burial shroud. Okay. Let's take the blanket. Let's wrap the blanket around the dog here. And give this dog some dignity at his death. His man's best friend. So he carries Heraclitus to the firs with a clear view of the valley beneath. So Frank's got the dog, and let's go west here for a second. And we're at a valley clearing by the dug firs. And there's some soft snow here. Let's look at that. Buries him in a deep grave filled with rocks, stumps, and tears to frustrate the coyotes. Let's dig again the grave from the soft snow. We'll take our shovel and let's use the shovel on the soft snow to dig. And it says at the last shovel of black loam, it's snowing again. His tracks are covered by glittering white plasma. His paralysis of action passes. He wakes up to waking up. And with that Heraclitus, he buried him in the clearing. The dog is no longer in the inventory. He's been buried in the snow. So he's going to return back east here to the parking lot area where Erin is. Looks at her. She gets back in the van. And the two of them are solemnly there. Married in ecstasy, divorced in distress. It's not your fault. He's okay. I know, she says. He's ascended. And they can continue going back the way they came to the southeast. Dropping back on Onyx Street. Frank drives carefully down to Onyx Street. Collects his things in a travel bag. So, we return to the backyard at Onyx Street. And we can't go into the house. We go south to the shed, gardening tools, and it says picks, axe, saws, a hoe, etc. Let's return the shovel to the with the rest of the gardening tools, and then we can go back into the house, and then in the house there's the travel bag. Let's look at that. A change of underclothes and a couple shirts. Let's take that. And it says, and 20 minutes later, he's south on I-5, passing Peterbilt's in the slick uphill turns, headed back to Berkeley. And that would be the breakup of Frank and Erin. And she's will be in school at University of Oregon, and he's headed back to University of California, Berkeley in San Francisco. And that concludes the third chapter of Beyond Exile. Thank you for checking in. We'll be back with the fourth installment.